Hello and welcome to a new season of Cougars Corner. My name is Dawson Pahl and we have an awesome show lined up for you today. From hockey to basketball to soccer, we'll fill you in on everything MRU Cougars. Let's get started with the classic rival matchup between the Calgary Dinos and your Mount Royal Cougars men's hockey teams. The two teams faced off on October 29th, with the Cougars getting on the board early as they scored just 1 minute and 11 seconds into the game. Right off the face-off, the puck goes right to Nolan Yaremko, who makes no mistake and fires it top shelf into the net. In the next few minutes, the Dinos would respond by scoring twice to beat the Cougars goaltender, Riley Morris. Having no intention of heading into the intermission down a goal, defenseman Levi Klebor tees it up from the point, and a great deflection from Josh Tarswell ties the game at 2. Moving into the second, Sean Richards receives the puck, spins, backhands, and scores. Now up by a goal, MRU looks to keep the pressure alive. After a great save by the goalie, Riley Sawchuk dishes it to Nolan Yaremko, who goes top shelf again. That's his second of the night. The Cougars continue to pile on the goals. Watch Sawchuk grab the big rebound and make it 5-2. The second stays eventful, but this time it's a great second effort by the Dinos forward, who scores after being knocked down. Into the third we go, and the momentum was definitely in the Dinos' favor as they scored 3 back-to-back goals to take the lead in the hockey game. Now down a goal, the Cougars looked to answer, and they did with a beautiful shorthanded 2-on-1 goal from Riley Sawchuk. Unfortunately, UFC would get their chance during a 2-on-1, score a goal, and would win this one by a score of 7-6. It's a high-scoring game for sure. The next day, these two teams would have a rematch, and the Cougars were looking for revenge. They got what they were looking for and won by a score of 3-2. Heading into November, your men's team took on the MacEwan University Griffins on the 12th and did not disappoint. The Cougars only allowed 1 goal and scored a commanding 7 times in 60 minutes of play. Let's take a look at some of these goals. Ethan Regnier got the Cougars on the board. Nolan Yaremko scored on the power play. Then Brad Kennedy gets his opportunity, also with the man advantage. Later in the second, Kyle Walker takes it end-to-end and beats the goalie. Now 4-1, Klebor does what he does best and tees it up from the point. Then, after a scramble, Lane Gillis grabs the loose puck and finds Twine. And finally, if there weren't enough goals already, Nolan Yaremko takes the pass on the left wing side and scores the Cougars' 7th of the game. Later that weekend, the Cougars weren't as lucky as they lost to the Alberta Golden Bears by a final score of 4-1. Moving on to the games on the 19th and 20th, the Cougars were on a road trip to Winnipeg. They took on the Bisons of Manitoba. They might have been down on the road, but that didn't seem to matter as Riley Lindgren dishes it off to another Riley Sawchuk, who scores the first of the game. For the second goal, it's Nolan Yaremko with a great shot. Not wanting to disappoint, MRU scores again. This time, it's Brad Kennedy who goes upstairs over the shoulder. Back the other way, later in the third, the Bisons get on the board. Look at that speed from Colton Veloso, who sets up the play. The puck scrambles in front, and the Cougars couldn't clear the puck fast enough. For the final goal of the game, the Cougars are on the power play, and once again, it's Nolan Yaremko who beats the goaltender. Game 1 against Manitoba is in the books. Cougars 4, Bisons 1. A day later, these two teams battle it out once again. The Cougars do manage to score the first 2, with Yaremko and Kennedy getting the goals, but after a long, hard battle, Mount Royal would fall short and lose by a final score of 5-4. To recap what the women's hockey team have been up to lately, let's head back to November 5th, where Tiana Coe puts on the Jets and scores this absolute beauty against the MacEwan Griffins. She wouldn't be done scoring yet as Tiana Coe nets her second goal of the game after a great feed from captain Tatum Amy. And finally, with only a minute and 36 left to go, the puck is turned over to Mackenzie Butts, who rockets the shot from the point. Zoe de Beauville earns the shutout as the Cougars win 3-0. A day later, the girls stayed in Edmonton but took on the U of A Pandas in a close battle. The game was scoreless until the Cougars bean-boozled the goalie and passed it out front where Kate Skidmore shot it in. After 2 from the opposition, Mackenzie Butts fired it from the point and Aaliyah Joma tracked down the rebound and got the goal. To the third we go, where Athena Hawk kept herself onside and rifles it off the glove and into the net. That makes it 3 for MRU, and they walk away from this one ahead by a goal. Moving to the November 19th weekend, the Cougars were home to the Manitoba Bisons. Manitoba opened the scoring, but MRU answered with a goal from Courtney Coleman. The game was back and forth as the Cougars and the Bisons each scored 2 more times in the second. This includes a nifty power play goal from Tiana Coe. With the game tied, the Cougars were looking to take the lead in the third. They prevailed when Anna Perschke showed some sweet hand-eye coordination to tip the puck in the net. The Cougars held on and won the game by a score of 3-2. All right, Bisons, Cougars, rematch. Let's break it down for you. The majority of this one was extremely defensive. It took exactly 43 minutes and 55 seconds for a goal to be scored. Breaking the deadlock was Taylor Saka, who deked around the goalie after receiving the pass from Athena Hawk. Then, with only 15 seconds left to go, the Bisons tied the game and sent it to overtime. Unfortunately, luck was not on the Cougar side as they lost a hard battle in extra time.
Hi, my name is Lisa Parent, and I'll be taking you through the start of the Cougars basketball season. The MRU Cougars played the MacEwan Griffins at our very own Kenyon Court October 29th and 30th, taking solid wins both days. The Cougars fans weren't sweating the first game as they kept a steady lead all night. Patron started the game with a step-back mid-range shot and Lutz with a pull-up jumper to get the Cougars rolling. MRU took the lead in the first quarter 25-18 over MacEwan. Going into the second quarter, Patron made a tough step back for 3. Patron was showing off all of his skills in the second, hitting another 3-pointer, getting the Cougars heated up. They extended that lead in the second, their confidence not shaken, and their guards up, even with a big buffer going into the third. In the third, we had Dewsbury with a nice block and nice one layup, the Cougars racking up 24 points in the third quarter. The Cougars stayed relentless and started to pull away from the Griffins for good in the fourth. MRU absolutely dominated the Griffins with a finishing score of 93-64. Lutz being a huge part of this Cougars win with his efficient scoring and good defense. The men's basketball team found themselves victorious again in the second game, taking notes from their first game. They didn't hold such a big lead as the night before, but managed to beat MacEwan 85-68. Patron started off the second game hot by bringing the Cougars a beautiful wide-open 3-pointer in the first quarter. The second quarter was the only one that MRU fell short of the Griffins in points. However, Mount Royal led the game in the third, Tommy extending the 2-point lead to a 4-point lead with a jumper around the halfway mark of the quarter. Lincoln Anderson then shot a 3-pointer to keep that MRU lead. Mawien then got the crowd going with a nice 3-pointer in the last 2 minutes of the fourth. Chase Bonney took home Player of the Game title after putting up 13 points with 3 rebounds and 3 steals. The entirety of the team had an impressive performance, catching 46 rebounds and taking 17 points off MacEwan turnovers. Vander Velden, Anderson, and Tommy led the team in rebounds. This was overall a solid performance from the Cougars over the MacEwan Griffins both nights. The Cougar women's team also took 2 wins in their first home games of the season. Mount Royal claimed 39 rebounds during their first game and took a total of 17 steals. Tanis Metcalf took 4 defensive rebounds and 10 points. Martins took home a well-deserved Player of the Game title after shooting a whopping 23 points. Galden also helped the Cougars to victory with 17 points, 2 steals, and 4 assists. Overall, a solid performance for the women's basketball team at their first home game. The crowd was also extremely excited to witness the first at-home win of the season. On October 30th, MRU took the second game, 64-52, giving them a 2-0 record to start the season off. Wilkinson made a nice 3-pointer in the second quarter, adding to 3 of the only 15 points the Cougars would get that quarter. MRU managed to score 33 points in the third quarter while holding the Griffins to only 9. This was the Cougars' biggest lead of the night. Galden helped her team to keep that lead with a beautiful jumper in the fourth. The Cougars finished the fourth with only 12 points compared to MacEwan's 17, but that was all they needed to take the win. Bella Galden took MVP of the game as she put up 15 points, 2 steals, and 2 rebounds. This set the tone for the rest of the team as they played a solid game overall. Both teams were generally even on defense, but the Cougars excelling in offense. This ended the weekend for the Cougars on a very positive note, as both the men's and women's teams shut out the MacEwan Griffins for the entirety of the weekend.
Hi, I'm Kareemi, excited to join Cougars Corner to talk about my favorite sport, soccer, or football as 3/4 of the world calls it, but let's find a happy medium in that debate and call it footy. Starting with the women's team, who unfortunately had a tough season, finishing with a record of 3 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws, placing them in 4th place in their Central Division of Can West. Even though they missed out on the Can West playoffs, there were a lot of positive signs for the women's side. Most notably, first-year forward Sydney Danielewicz being named into the all-rookie team for Can West. Danielewicz scored 6 goals for the Cougars this year, including a hat-trick against Lethbridge and a brace against U of A. Even though the season didn't pan out exactly how they would have wanted, it's important to note that the women's team has a large amount of first-year players. They'll definitely learn from this experience and push themselves even further next year. So we want to congratulate the Cougars women's soccer team on a hard-fought season, and we know you'll be coming back next year, stronger, ready to push the top teams in Can West. Now for the men's side, who did have a more successful season in comparison, but ultimately fell short of their main goal in playoffs. They started the season a little slow, with a few draws and a loss, but picked up momentum and finished the regular season with 5 straight wins. Those 5 straight wins included a massive 12-3 win against MacEwan Griffins, breaking a Can West record for most goals in a game. Oh, and by the way, they were down 3-1 in that game before scoring 11 unanswered. Another major highlight was this incredible goal from midfielder Justin Anderson-Louch, which was actually featured on TSN and Sportsnet. That regular season streak meant they were hosting for playoffs. They came away with the 2-0 quarterfinal win against Thompson Rivers Wolfpack, giving them hosting rights for the Can West Final Four as well. But they were unable to beat Pacific Powerhouse and eventual Can West champions, UBC Thunderbirds, in the semifinals, falling to a tough 1-0 loss after extra time. Still, they pulled themselves together after a difficult defeat and came back the next morning to beat the Fraser Valley Cascades for their 2nd straight Can West bronze. MRU's men's team did finish with a lot of individual award winners as well. Moel Gander was named Can West Player of the Year and was put on U Sport's first All-Canadian team. Justin Anderson-Louch was named to Canada West First Team and U Sport's 2nd All-Canadian team. Caden Rogozinski was named in Can West 2nd and All-Rookie teams, also being named in U Sport's All-Rookie team. Second-year forward Dane Domic was also named in Can West 2nd team, while first-year left-back Ethan Keane also made the Can West All-Rookie team. And that's the footy season breakdown for Cougars Corner and the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've been Kaamil on behalf of Lisa and Dawson. We'll see you next time.